I am super excited for our next guest. He is a two-time NBA champion. He is all defensive team for defending. He led the NBA in steals back in 1979. Former GM, head coach, entrepreneur. He wears multiple hats, and he is a proud Boston Celtic alum. ML Carr, welcome to the No Backing Down podcast.
Sean, it's great to be with you. I know that you were a player too, and I just heard that you are on the injured list. You got to get well because the Celtics going to need you because we know you're a shooter. You're like Dana Barris. You're a great shooter, so we know you got to be ready for the 22nd of December. So get well quick. I will.
As long as Tom Brady's out there playing at my age, a year older, I'm always going to try to be ready. I don't know if I can hang with Dana Barris in that same sentence, but I appreciate the love, my friend. It was good. It was good watching those dynasty teams with yourself back. I was real little, but still, thank God VHS tapes. But ML, we're going to get right into it. Obviously, you had a stellar career, which we're going to talk about. But one of the things, the No Backing Down podcast is, look at when we are faced with adverse situations, how we evolve.
Right.
And we're going to shift back, so you get drafted in the 5th round. Everybody thinks when you get drafted, a lot of times you're guaranteed you're going to make it. And you find yourself getting cut, and all places you're going to Israel. Can you maybe take our listeners through, what was going through your head? You get cut, and you got to go over to Europe to kind of reinvent yourself.
Yeah, actually, I was cut 3 times. The Kansas City Kings cut me. 2 days later, Red Auerbach called me and asked me to come to Boston. And when I walked into his office, he said, "Well, we think you can be a Celtics, but we don't have any room for you." I'm like, I wish you would have told me that on the phone. I didn't say that to him, but that's what I was thinking. He said, "But we think you can be a Celtic. So what we like to do is we like to hide you for a year." I said, "Okay, great." So he said, "We're going to send you to Israel to play over there for a year, and then you'll come back and be with us." Well, I said to Red years later, if you really wanted to hide me, you should have sent me to Harlem, not to Israel. I stood out over there. So I go to Israel. I play over there for a year. I come back, and there are multiple choices. I end up signing with the Spirits of St. Louis in the old ABA, where I joined with guys like Marvin Barnes and Don Chaney and Freddie Lewis, those guys, Moses Malone. It was an incredible roster, but we were not a good team. We were all going in different directions. 1 year after that, the leagues merged in 1976. So I went to the Detroit Pistons as a free agent. Signed there, stayed there for 3 years, and when I was up that last year, I made it very clear that I wanted to be a Celtic. It might have hurted me with the negotiation, but I was always a Celtics fan. I worked out a deal with Red that summer and came over, and because they were coming off, as you may know, a 29-52, 29-53 season. And so I knew I could come and turn it around, but I was going to need a little help. So I brought a little blonde-haired kid with me by the name of Larry Bird to turn this thing around. So it was great getting the chance to come over in 79.
No, and that's great. And that was a great narrative, ML. Obviously, we're going to rewind it a little bit before we talk about those glory days. Tell me, how was it? Look, you played at Guilford College, Division III. How did you get yourself on the map?
Yeah. At one point, when I played, it was NAIA. They went on to become Division III. But on my senior year team, we had 3 guys that turned pro off of that team. One, you may remember Greg Jackson, who played with the Washington Bullets at the time and the New York Knicks. He was our point guard. And there was another guard that took all of my shots by the name of World B. Free, who at one point became the second leading scorer in the NBA behind George Gervin and myself. So we had 3 guys go off of that championship team because we won the national championship that year. So it was great. People knew who we were, and we got a chance to go forward.
Well, that's it. So that's really, you talk about Garnett and Allen and Pierce. That might have been the first original 3 right there. And they talk about Bird, McHale, and Parrish. So a way to pave the way. I hope they give a shout out to you guys as the original 3. That being said, we're going to fast forward it, ML. You know, obviously you got going. I know it killed Dick Vitale. It ripped the heart out of him.
Dick.
But to leave Detroit to go to Boston, can you maybe, you know, everybody knows Coach Vitale, Dick, as a passionate guy. Can you maybe feed our listeners any good stories on him playing for him out in Detroit?
Well, Dick was an incredible, passionate person, you know, and he still remains that. But as a coach there, Dick was always giving us these incredible stories about why we should be so fortunate and so excited about being in the NBA, because your father didn't do that. Your father worked in the factory. Your father did this. And you guys, you got to always remember you have one foot inside the NBA and the other foot is on a banana peel, and you can go either way. So you got to bring it every single day. He was always giving those motivational pitches before practice or doing games. But the one thing that Dick did for us, he never, ever allowed you to feel like you were something great. You were always had to be, in Dick's mind, you had to be very fortunate and proud of the fact that you were given this opportunity because of all the great players that came before you and all that. He constantly reminded us of that. But the one thing he did for the Celtics when I came over as a free agent that year, Red fought him tooth and nails because Dick wanted Bob McAdoo, and who was at one point led the league in scoring three times, and Red fought him tooth and nails and said, "You got to give us more. We gonna go ML against McAdoo? Are you kidding me?" And so Dick threw in 2 first-round picks, which became Parrish and McHale. Great job, Red. The theft of all time in sports.
You heard it from ML himself. The theft of all time in sports, right there. You know, I got to give a shout out to our co-hosts, Ari and Frank, and our sponsors, Legendary Foods and Visionary Keto dog food. So we're going to have to make sure, I'm sure you ate Pop-Tarts as a kid, right?
I still do every now and then with the grandkids.
All right, well, we got something better for you. We're going to have a care package. You know, the tasty pastry. If you look at Pop-Tarts, they got 200 calories, 38 grams of sugar, carbs, 16 grams of sugar. This legendary Pop-Tart tasty pastry, 170 calories, 9 grams of protein.
Wow.
You know we're going to get back to your playing weight at 205 ml, so this is going to help. We're going to
a little ways to go.
Yeah, hey. Well, that being said, you know, you obviously that first year in '79, you joined the Celtics, and Bird comes along in the rookie season. Fast forward it to '81, you guys had a tough task in the North Finals against the 76ers and Julius, getting over that hump.
Yeah,
that was like the Patriots beating the Steelers back in their first Super Bowl, trying to get over that hump. But tell us a little bit about that series, ML, because that was pivotal. And then you went on and won it to really make a statement that, hey, this was a dynasty in the making.
Well, the Eastern Conference Final, that really was the NBA Final that year when you think about it, because as you said, the great player in Dr. J and the guys that he had with him, that was a great Sixers team, and that was the barometer for us. If we could get past them, we felt that we could win it all. And fortunate for '81, we did. We got past them. They beat us in '80. '81, we didn't get there in '80. And '81, we got past them. And then after we got past the Sixers, it was somewhat anticlimactic, even though it was our first championship, this group together, because we knew we were going to take care of Houston. That was going to be an easy run, we thought, and we were able to go out there and get that. But the Sixers, the finals in the Eastern Finals with them, that was brutal. That was incredible, trying to win that series because they had such a great team.
A straight dogfight.
It really was. It really was.
We know,
and as you remember, at one point, we were down to that team. We had an incredible comeback and was able to pull it out.
And you did, and you know, got that first ring, which I'm sure was watching that '81 banner getting lifted was pretty special. I'm sure.
That was very special, very special.
And then we fast forwarded, so we have a little drought in between. We get to the 1984 NBA Finals. Another great year. ML, you had a phenomenal game 4. Take us through that game. Take us through the steal, the dunk, to put the explanation point, and then obviously pretty much that won the series.
Sean, that series was really tough. No one expected us to win. We were the Clydesdale, and they were the Thoroughbreds. Everyone felt that the Lakers would run away with it. And the one thing that changed that series, I think it was the physical play. They were not ready for that. McHale with the clothes hang, the Larry with Cooper, all the things are starting to change. And because of that, as you said in Game 3, they beat us by 33 points, which was unheard of a Celtics team in finals. And we came back. Larry called the team out. We came back in Game 4, and some lucky guy come off the bench and made a big steal, slams it down, and that we're off to the races. But it still wasn't over. Coming back to Game 5, it was a battle. It was a battle all the way. But fortunate for us, we were able to pull it out. But you saw two great teams that really didn't like each other. Time has healed some of the wounds, but at the time we didn't care for one another because we were each in each other's way to get into the championship. But we were able to pull that out, which was unbelievable.
Now, tell me, after winning that and getting the rings, seeing that ring, seeing the banner, what look, let's face it, you had a stellar career, but that's the pinnacle of a lot of athletes, is to be able to be a world champion. What did that mean for you, and how did you feel the emotions going through when you got that second ring?
Well, it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. The first one was just, it got you in the game, but that second one was just incredible because it was against the Lakers. It was not going to be anticlimactic when you got to the finals, playing a great Lakers team, led by Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and those guys. They were just a great team. So it meant so much more for us. And the fact that we clinched it in Boston with the Garden about to erupt, it was just unbelievable. It was the greatest point. It was the greatest highlight in my career. With the 11 seconds to go in the game in the Garden, everybody's standing, it's sweaty. Everybody's like, it was the greatest, and the towel going. It was the greatest feeling that I had in sport, knowing that we're going against all the odds, that we're going to be crowned champions against an incredible Laker team. And it happened on the famed parquet floor. It was fabulous. Nothing can compare to that.
No, and you couldn't have summed it up better. And I had to do the towel wave. I don't have a Celtics towel. The waving this is actually the Super Bowl, the Patriots towel, when I was at that game.
Okay.
When I beat the Atlanta Falcons. But that being said, yes, and that I was fortunate enough. My dad grew up in the first dynasty with Russell and Havlicek, all those guys, and Cousy, and I used to get the bedtime stories. 11 years following your win, my high school team, I played with a very talented player, Scooney Penn. We were the last high school team to win on that parquet floor. So it was almost surreal, the bedtime stories, to be able to play and, watching you guys kind of pave the way for huge dreams. That was just an amazing. It was almost like hallucinations of Johnny Most, of his voice. Your face waving the towel, Bird doing his thing, and McHale and Parrish, Red smoking on a cigar. All those iconic parts of Boston history were just incredible. We're going to put you on the spot a little bit. I know you played with a lot of good people, but who's the best player you played with?
The best player? Without a doubt, it was Larry. I did play with a lot of great players. When I go back to Detroit with Lanier, I go back with Moses Malone. Marvin Barnes could have been. Marvin was just such a talented player, but he never could put it all together on and off the floor. But Larry, without a doubt, was the best player I ever played with, without a doubt.
And, there's obviously a lot of controversy over the years about players not wanting to come to Boston due to the racial undercurrent. What were your experience with racism?
Well, when I came to Boston in 79, you remember it was 1 year after the busing issue. The infamous picture of a guy with an American flag stabbing a black guy on the steps on the steps. So everybody said, why would you want to go to Boston? Well, you go to help. You be a part of it. And when I first came, obviously it was not like it is today. There were racial issues, without a doubt, in major ways. And I remember being asked to come down. The Celtics was asked for someone to come down to Southie at the Boys and Girls Club to do a clinic. And I volunteered to go. And they goes, "Are you crazy?" No, no. And there were people there that said, "No, you shouldn't come. We don't want you. We like to have, Chris Ford or someone else." So I said, "No, I'm definitely going now." And so I went down there and I put on probably one of the iconic clinics that they've had, because it was supposed to be like a 1 hour clinic. I spent about 3 hours. And let me just show you something. I'm going to proudly show you something. I'm glad you asked that question. You see that championship thing?
Yes.
The championship, South Boston High School, 1996 state champions.
Jonathan Pena.
Right. So I go from 79 telling me not to come down there, 79, 80, not to come down, to going to be a part of presenting the championship shirts, the championship things at South Boston when they won in 96. So from 80 to 96, 16 years, things have changed a lot. There are incidents that you don't talk about that happened, but something, let me just be real clear. I knew it then, and I thought it could be. It was the unknown. It was the unknown that you didn't know, you were not interacting. But Boston is a world-class city in a lot of ways. Medical, sports. Think about it from an educational standpoint. It's very parochial, but it really is a world-class city, and people has been able to see that. And thank God the racial tones have changed, and so much in Boston. Boston has become one of the leaders in the country in terms of interaction and diversity, which is great.
No, it is. And that's what makes our country special. And the memories and traditions and history, as you mentioned, in Boston is just incredible. Back in the 50s, the Celtics, and then you guys, obviously picking up the pace. Can you maybe elaborate a little bit on ML? Because you talk about, what made Red Auerbach one of the greatest coaches and owners ever?
Well, the thing about Red is he was able to look at guys from all different backgrounds, and he was able to convince you, forget about who you are as a player coming in here. You all were great players. You are great players without a doubt in high school, in college, and everywhere else along the way. But the reality of it is, he was able to convince us to put the team first, and he had an interesting way of saying it. He would say, "There's a reason why the Celtics is on the front and the player's name is on the back. The team comes first." And in Boston, when I was negotiating with him to come over from Detroit, he sat there in the office and he said, "Look, in Boston, we work like a body. Every part of the body is vital to the success of that body. And it's the same thing with us. You probably can walk on your hands, but you'd probably be better letting your feet do that. There's only one head. There's only one head. It can't be three heads. But the head is just as important as the heart, and the heart's just as important as the head. So all parts of the body is vital. And when everybody's working in the same direction, it's a beautiful thing. And that's the way we do it. In Boston. You'll be respected by the fans. You'll be respected by the media. You'll definitely be respected by the organization if you just play your role. And there's another guy down the street by the name of Bill Belichick. He puts it a different way, but very similar to Red. Just do your job. And that was what Red was able to convince us to do. And no matter how great you were, your name still went on the back of the jersey. No matter how great. Russell, Kuz, Havlicek, Bird, all of them. Cedric Maxwell. Did I say Cedric Maxwell? Yes. Every single one. Danny Ainge. We all knew that we had to put the team first. And when we did that, we were successful. And Red was able to convince you of it.
Yeah, and it's just the stories about Red, and I appreciate you sharing that because what he did and the 16 championships. just a coach, as the owner. He really put the Boston on the map and created its own immortality with regards to sports. Maybe talking about, one guy that you said the year you came, 79, Bird comes too. And it was good to hear you mentioned, hey, he was the greatest that I've ever played with. He gave me a lot of dreams and goals as a kid. Can you maybe just touch on ML? What made Bird so special?
He was relentless. If Larry went into a game and he say he shot 8 for 20 in that game, those 12 shots that he missed, he was going to shoot those over and over and over again the next day in practice, next couple of days before the next game, so that he knew he was ready. He was going to miss that same shot again. Before every game, Larry had a guy who would go out with him and throw the ball back to him before the game and take a couple hundred shots before the game. Nobody did that. Nobody worked that hard. And we had a little game going for a while trying to figure out, let's see who could beat him to practice. So you go in a little bit early today. You go in a half an hour early, he's out there shooting. You go in an hour, he's out there shooting. And then we said, okay, forget that. Let's figure out who can stay longer. And we stick around. And so that guy is not going home. So I'm out of here. So the point is, in Larry's idea, they said, well, Larry, you spent a lot of time in the game. He goes, well, all I'm doing is giving a half a day's work if I stay 12 hours. It's 24 hours in the day. So I'm not doing any more than the guys out there working. The guys working 10, 12 hours. Why shouldn't I? So he was just so relentless. He got the most out of his abilities. He got the most out of his teammates because he was always one of the most unselfish teammates. He always was trying to make the players around him better, and he did that.
And that's a great story. Any other stories about Larry that you can share? Maybe on traveling with him, playing with him, anything for our listeners? Because obviously when you mention Bird, there's a lot of fans that are listening, and would love to be able to share that with our diehard fans, ML. Because you know how diehard these fans are of New England.
I'll just give you a funny one. We were in on an away game. We were on the bus. And Larry looks over outside and he said, what kind of car is that? That's a beautiful car. What kind of car is that? And I think it was someone said, oh, that's the new Cadillac. He said, oh, man, that is beautiful. So Cedric Maxwell said, hey, Cadillac, you could buy GM all that money they're paying you. So Larry wasn't about to spend his money on a Cadillac. If you want to give it to him, great, but he wasn't gonna buy the Cadillac. So Maxwell said, you can buy all the GM now. So anyway, it's just the funny times like that was what made us special. We got along extremely well. Guys just did their jobs and had fun along the way.
Now, if you're picking a team that you've got a coach, you can go back to the start of the ABA all the way to present day. Who are the 5 guys that are going to make up your starting 5?
Are we trying to get Timmy Duncan or just trying to get a championship?
I'm saying whoever you think would make up that dream team. There's a lot of players. I had the president of the Football Hall of Fame on, and that was a tough question for him.
Well, it's a tough question, but I mean, you got so much respect for so many players. But if I had to pick a starting 5 right now to go at it, without a doubt, Bill Russell would be on my team because he's the ultimate team player. He just wasn't anybody better from a team standpoint. There's another guy that I would put on my team, and I hope the Celtics fans don't get me for this, but I would put Jerry West on my team. Jerry was just unbelievable. I would have Michael Jordan, Michael happened to be the second best player to come out of my hometown.
I will raise my glass to that.
And without a doubt, Larry would be on that team. So did I have enough yet, or do I have?
No, you got one more. We got Bill Russell.
I got one more, and I'm gonna get hit again on this one because someone's gonna not like what I'm gonna say, and it's gonna be what I believe would be the right person to put there. It wouldn't be Magic Johnson, even though Magic was a great player. It would be Oscar Robertson.
Average a triple-double.
Oscar would be my guy. Oscar and Jerry, that would be an incredible backcourt. It just would be unbelievable.
That's well said. And that being said, ML, obviously you went from playing two rings, and for our listeners that don't know ML or for the younger, you gotta Wikipedia, you gotta do some research on him, because he was one thing I really respected, just about you paving the way for a lot of guys, and especially watching you, was your tenacity as a defensive player. And that's something I know you took great pride in. And at leading the NBA in steals in 1979. But, you were obviously the general manager, and then you were the head coach for 2 seasons with the Celtics. And you inherited a group of guys that was, to your defense, Len Bias tragically passed. He would have been on that team most likely. Reggie Lewis, another, God rest his soul. So,
great player.
Can you maybe tell our listeners, the challenge you faced, and it didn't work out. It doesn't, and maybe how you got through that period in your life, because I'm sure you wanted to continue to coach and be a part of it, but sometimes, as you know, ML,
Yep.
The professional sports is what have you done for me lately?
Right. Now, well, I'm going to enlighten you on one thing. I did not want to coach. I didn't want to take it from the beginning, but I talked to Red Auerbach, and I said to Red, I think it doesn't make sense for us to go get a career coach now, because we don't have the players. We got some work to do to get the players lined up. So I think I'm going to take it for a couple of years. And he goes, are you crazy? I said, no. I said, Red, I think it's the right thing. And we're going to waste money. We're going to waste all of this. Let's go get the team right, get the players right, and then we'll go get a career coach. And he goes, nah, you'll get killed in the city with that. He goes, you got too good a reputation in the city. You shouldn't do it. And then maybe 4 or 5 days later, he came back. Something, kid, I think you can do it. He said, that might be the right thing. And I said, the only reason I said to Red, I said, look, Red, you always told us to put the team first. And now you're telling me to put myself first. And he said, no, well, it's not to say. I said, no, you told us to put the team first. And the ideal thing would be get the players right so we can build this team back the way it should be. So I took the position. And 2 years later, we had 9 places that we could plug in when Pitino came in. And we had Rick Fox and David Wesley, who were 2 very solid players. But we laid it out for him. It wasn't easy. Believe me, it was tough. The media was kicking me every day. Fans were upset. But in the final analysis now, I walked through the city now, and people said, "ML, you went for the team. Where were you back then?" Oh, we knew what you were doing. Oh, yeah, you did? Why didn't you tell everybody that? But the point, it was the right thing to do at that time. I had no interest. I'd never coached before. I had no interest in doing it. But it didn't make sense to waste the resources to get there. And I knew that it was going to be a tough task of getting the team in a position to get like those 9 players in the best shot at Timmy Duncan. So I feel that was a good contribution. But the reality of it is we didn't get Timmy Duncan. And I get a call when I went down to the lottery. I get a call from the Rick Pitino's group, and they said, why don't you ask Greg Popovich, would he take, our position, which was number 3, and we'll kick in a first-round pick for next year, or we'll kick in a couple of players in exchange for the first pick, and which was going to be Timmy Duncan. And I thought about it, and I had to do it because it was doing the right thing for the team. But I knew when I went to Popovich and asked him, and he said, no, I think we're going to hold on to the first pick because he already knew it was going to be Timmy Duncan. And I knew at the time, and I said this to our guys, if we offered the 3rd pick, all the revenue from the Mass Pike for the next 20 years, the John Hancock building, and the greatest restaurants in the North End, they would have turned it down anyway. So it didn't make any sense. And so Popovich made me feel he knew what I was doing, and I had to do it. But he's now ML. I think we are. He wanted to say, you got to be sick to come and ask me that. But the reality of it is, no way you're going to turn down Timmy Duncan that opportunity. So, it didn't work out that way, but it worked out that Rick had 9 slots open that he could build his team, and it didn't work out so well for him either. So eventually, we got the right guy in here in Doc Rivers, and he did the right thing.
Yeah, it's got that next banner. That was a phenomenal year.
Right.
So you moved on from there. We're going to reverse it a little bit, ML, because let's face it, everybody needs a mentor. Everybody needs a role model.
Absolutely.
Can you maybe touch on who was your role model growing up and the impact they had on your life?
It's very simple for me. There were probably 3 people that I considered well, and my father was a real role model for us. He didn't have the education, but he was a very bright guy. He was a loving guy, and he never saw a bad day. Everything was a great day for him. So he was first and foremost. But then there was a guy by the name of Davis Lee. Davis was a local businessman down in Wallace, North Carolina. And I went out to the golf course and I asked him, could I caddy for him? And he said, son, do you know anything about caddying? I was 12 years old. I shouldn't have been out there. I was too young to be out there. And he said, you know anything about caddying? I said, no, sir. He said, but if you let me caddy for you, I'll caddy for you for free for a month. And he looked at me and goes, with your attitude and my billfold, we're going to make a good partnership here. So he let me caddy. I'm going to fast forward to 1981 when we were playing against the Houston Rockets in the finals. Davis was there still pulling for his guy, like he'd done all the way up through college. Davis and I are business partners now. Davis is going to be 81 years old in March. There's no one closer to me than Davis. There's not a man on earth that's closer to me than Davis. Davis saw me through all those years when I was growing up. He convinced me to go and integrate the schools because they were segregated at the time. He was there pulling for me all the way through. It's no one been better. So he was an incredible role model. And I asked him, and after that Houston series, Davis, I don't understand why you did it. You took so much abuse for, helping this young kid out who it wasn't the right thing back then. You did it anyway. He said, all I want to do is help a kid. I didn't care about your color. I want to help a kid. And you needed some help. And now we fast forward 57 years we've been together. 57 years. And now we're business partners, been business partners for a while. I've worked in Davis's companies. We are partners in a technology firm. It's just an incredible story. And so for me, there was no one better as far as a role model than Davis. And then I'll talk about Red. Red was a role model. I spent a lot of time listening to Red and hearing how he dealt with business. And I was able to incorporate a lot of the things he taught us in sport, translated well into business. Putting the team first, respecting all of the employees, making sure that they understood that they're a vital part of the team. Making sure that whoever you're dealing with business-wise, just tell them the truth. And sometimes, even if it's not good news, truthful news is so much better than lies. You don't just tell the truth, and you'll work through it together. And so Red was a great role model in that regard, and he was able to build those 16 world championships. And because of some of that, we've had some success in business too.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that, ML. We like to, obviously all of our listeners, we have a wine guru on the line here, one of my co-hosts, Frank. And I'm just curious, do you drink red or white? Is there a specific wine you like?
Sean, I'm not a drinker. I don't drink wine. I don't drink. And never had a beer in my life, so I really don't drink alcohol.
No, well, that's good. Hey,
Thank you anyway.
That was good advice. How about an animal? Do you have a pet?
I'm a grandparent of a pet. Got a couple of dogs.
Okay.
My grand dogs.
You got grand dog. What type of
they're
dogs you
wonderful
got?
dogs. So what do you have?
Yes. What type of dog do you have?
Oh yeah, we have both of them. Like one of them is a hound, a little bit of a hound in him,
Yep.
and a lab, hound and a lab. So he's a wonderful dog. Zach. Yeah,
He's
so
got some
it's good.
craziness to him, and he's got some demeanor. Relax.
No, he's good. He's very
Yeah.
good. Except the grandmother of the dog doesn't like for him to get on the couch.
I understand. I'm going through that now. I got a puppy, 6-month-old boxer named
Oh wow.
Capri Gelato, and we got a
Yeah.
new coach, and we're training her, and it's been a little challenge. But
So tell me about the great dog food you got for him. What do you feed him? Well, I want to know what you.
Yeah,
what's the right thing?
I appreciate you asking the question. It's called Visionary Keto Pet Foods. It's a genetic altered organic dog food that actually humans can eat it as well. I wouldn't recommend you eating it though. Just kidding, Visionary. We know it's a good appetizer at a cocktail party, but
Right.
we're working on getting you a little care package.
Oh, nice.
All right, so Visionary, and then from our other sponsor, Legendary Foods, we're going to make sure you can try out each Pop-Tart, see which one you like. And,
All right.
We'll get back to
great.
playing weight. We like to ask our guests, ML, a handful of questions for our fans, for your fans. What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie? Oh boy, that's a tough one. But I'm such a Cowboys fan. I love westerns, so it would probably be Sundance.
Okay, excellent. How about favorite book?
Favorite book? Winning Through Persistence by M.L. Carr.
I like that.
Let me just tell you, I do a lot of entrepreneur books. I read a lot of entrepreneur books, and so I would probably say that my favorite of all of them would probably be. I'm a big reader of. I hate to say he's my favorite, but I do like his book. Henry Ford. I love the writings of Henry Ford.
Henry Ford, excellent. Well, we're gonna have to exchange books, ML, because I'd love to get you a copy of No Backing Down.
I love that. I love the title.
I know, because you've walked that path. How about if you got one spot on the planet, where you going for a destination? You can take the family or go with your significant other. Where would that be?
The favorite place would probably be the Isle of Capri, is in Italy.
The Amalfi Coast.
Beautiful. Yeah, I enjoyed it when I was there. That was good.
I renewed my vows in Positano, and then we took a private yacht to Capri. I loved it so much, I named my dog Capri.
Yeah, Capri is a wonderful place. It's a wonderful place. It really is. Yep.
It is. Excellent. Well, it's good to know you like Italian food, because when we get through this COVID, we're going to have to do a North End visit.
It's nothing like, I always say it to people all over, no matter where I go, there's nothing like the North End. It just isn't. It just, you can't get that many great restaurants in such a small area as you do in the North End. It's unbelievable.
I even got my co-hosts are both Greek. They would even raise their glass to that, ML.
Good.
And then our next question. So you got one meal, ML, okay, that you could eat, a cheat meal. What is it going to be?
Beef and rice.
Beef and rice. Okay, excellent. And, we like to ask, what is the best advice you'd give to your younger self?
Don't waste your time. I'm at a point now, my next birthday, I'm going to be 70. You think about some of the time that's been wasted. You thought you were doing the right thing. You thought, and it turns out it was a waste of time. So you don't want to waste your time. And as you get older, and my mentor, Davis Lee, well, he has a saying, look, I've got a little bit of money, so I can waste a little bit of money. But at my age, I don't have a whole lot of time, so I can't waste any time. Well, it'd be great if you learned that earlier. If you're in your 30s, just don't waste your time. Your time is valuable. And if you can learn that earlier, by the time you get to our age, boy, you've covered a lot of grounds. You've had some meaningful moments as opposed to wasteful moments and wasteful time.
You know, I heard a saying as a kid that I often use: "Time is like money; you don't know its value till it's gone." And
It's a great saying.
I
Great.
definitely contest to that. I had the opportunity, ML, to go to a boarding school for a year, which that taught me time management, the gunnery school and
Hmm.
mandatory study hall, school on Saturdays. You know,
Right.
I'm wired. I'm like a 4:45 in the morning till 10 at night, 6 days a week. And,
Wow.
and I'll tell you, I get a lot done. And I'm passionate, but, obviously my co-hosts have been phenomenal. We've really had the vision to bring something that our listeners can know who came before us
Right.
and paved the way. Um,
Right.
Frank, huge Boston guy. Frank, any questions for ML?
Um, growing up as a Boston Celtics fan and being one of my icons in my childhood, and all my friends that we grew up with, the
Right.
swinging of the towel was always the big thing for us that will always resonate. Um, do you do any clinics? I know I'm not sure if I caught that in the beginning of the program, but do you participate? Do
Right.
you still make
Right.
your rounds in the city?
Frank, I stopped doing clinics. I don't do them anymore. I enjoyed it when I did. Um, and I used to do a lot of school talks and all those things, but I really don't. And I jokingly said to someone not long ago who asked me, Amel, do you still get out and play? Do you get out and run? And I said, no, I got smart. I figured something out. I used to run for money. It's hard to run for free. So no, I really don't. What I do find myself doing occasionally is I'll get out in the yard with my grandson and my granddaughters, and I'll shoot some hoop a little bit with them, but not really playing competitive anything like that anymore.
How's the body feel now, ML?
It's great. I feel very fortunate that I came out of the game without any real lingering injuries. I walk every day, several miles every day. I swim when I get a chance to lift a little bit of weight. So I feel great. I mean, I really do. And you're very fortunate when you go through professional sports, college sports, high school sports, and you come out with no lingering injuries. I see a lot of my teammates that are limping or having all kinds of issues with their legs and backs. I didn't have any of that. So I'm very fortunate. I might have some towel elbow every now and then, like tennis elbow, towel elbow. But no, I'm very blessed. I really don't have any problems. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna share something with you, Sean, when we get off. You'll see what I'm doing now, and some of it's still crazy. I have 5 grandkids, and I've decided that I want to leave memories for them. I did not have grandparents. They were dead before I was born, except my maternal grandmother, and I missed that. And so, to me, it becomes really important to be able to share and leave them with memories. So I'm going to show you something that you can share with whoever you want to share it with. But I'm riding a bicycle backwards for my grandkids because as a kid growing up, we used to have backwards bicycle races where I wasn't racing, but I was riding it backwards. And one of my granddaughters said, "Hey, Pop, you could be an entertainer in the circus." So I do fun things like that with the grandkids, but not anything competitive.
Well, if you need an agent, American Got Talent, ML, we can work something out.
I'm gonna send you this clip from it.
I'm gonna want to look at that. Do you golf, ML?
I do. Not
Okay.
good, but I do.
All right, excellent. Well, we got the SES draft party, first day of the draft for the NFL, usually the last Thursday of the month in April, which is phenomenal. And a lot of your, fellow Bostonian studs will be playing. We'll get you some details. Hopefully we're out of COVID. Okay, last thing, and we'll let you run. Can you maybe give your definition of success?
Success is very simple. Did I come into this world and leave it better than what I came into? Did I do more for people than they did for me? Did I lighten the load of friends and strangers along the way? And if I did that, I was successful. It's not about money. Money, I always say, riches are here to enrich the lives of others, not to do fancy and fun things for me, but it's to enrich the lives of others. So if I've done those things, if I made life a little bit better for someone else along the way, if I lighten their load, then I was successful. That's my idea of success.
Nice.
ML, phenomenal. You know, obviously ML Carr, ladies and gentlemen, former Celtics GM, two-time NBA champion, NBA All-Defensive Team, ABA First Team, led the NBA in steals in 1979. The thing that has always resonated with me is the humility that ML walks in as a player, as a coach, as a granddad, as a father. ML, we wish you continued success, happiness, good health.
Thanks so much.
You're more than welcome. And always remember, ML,
Yeah.
no backing down.
No backing down. And I want you to remember something too, Sean. This is really important. Get healthy, stay healthy, so you'll be ready to play with the Celtics December 22nd. You got to be in. You have to be there for the beginning of the season.
I would love to. I'll tell you that. Maybe in the second life I will, but I've ran 3 marathons, ML, so I pretty much, yeah, you know, played Division I football and basketball, and then played a couple years in the pros in the Arena League. So a lot of wear, a lot of wear and tear. But like you said, sport speaks a language we all understand, and it's and it's a great platform to use. The one thing I didn't feel to mention, I'll let you literally run.
Sure.
I know you mentioned a little venture capitalist tech. Can you maybe elaborate what you're doing now for our listeners that might not?
I'll do it in one quick sentence. We have a technology that we have that allows companies, large enterprises, to be able to transmit their data securely over any distance. It's called Quantum Exchange. We are located down in Bethesda, Maryland. This company is going to revolutionize the way that you transmit data. And we got all the major companies now clamoring to be a part of it. Everyone, when you think about it, we just signed a huge deal with the folks at Verizon to protect all of their 5G. We're looking at some governmental contracts get ready to come out that we've been successful with. All of the major financial institutions around the country are trying to be a part of what we're doing, because as you know, when you transmit data or any type of radio signals, they degrade over a period of time. You have to re-amplify those, boost those to continue on. With us, the idea of even touching the field, because we use not mathematical algorithm, but instead we're using physics. And you know the laws of physics, you can't break the laws of physics. Mm-hmm. The reality of it is the fact of the matter is that we can securely transmit this data anywhere in the world now. And we got this company we started, and we think that there's going to be a happy day in not too distant future. So we're excited about it. Quantum Exchange, and it's Quantum X-C-H-A-N-G, no E, X-C-H-A-N-G. I'm a partner in the firm, and we were very excited about what this is going to do for not just this country, but for the world. It will help major enterprises be able to securely transmit their data anywhere. And so if you are involved in any company, any size, whether it's Walmart or whether it's the telecoms or whether it's the financial institution or governmental agencies, they'll come into this little company called Quantum Exchange to be able to secure their data, and we're excited about it. As a matter of fact, Sean, I've got to tell you this, and I love the Celtics. I love all the things I've been able to do. There is nothing that I've been involved with that is as big as this and as impactful as this.
You heard that, ladies and gentlemen. ML Carr, a former NBA great, a entrepreneur, a man in the community, a humanitarian. ML, we greatly appreciate it. Like I said, good luck with that. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, I'll see you. We can get back to the new normal, and we can share a taking a Celtics game. But all right, well, you keep being well.
Frank, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and everyone, even all your listeners out there, no backing down as you go into this this holiday season. Be safe.
Excellent. Thank you, ML. And I'm going to give a big shout out to my co-hosts, Ari and Frank.
Thank you, ML.
Legendary Foods.
Thank you, Ari.
Visionary Pet Foods, and ML Carr. We greatly appreciate it and wish everybody a happy, healthy Thanksgiving. Take the day to put on 5 pounds and make sure you get your 3 days of walking.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good day, Che. We're out.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Stay safe.